In our news bulletin for this evening, government has announced proposed tax increases and introduction of a new bed tax within the next year. A drop in local enrollments at USB prompts discussions about the viability of Niue's USB Centre. Niue Police give a prompt reminder to renew vehicle registrations. Sunday schools from around the island gathered to mark the Atonement of Christ in the annual Sunday School Easter Rally. The Niue government plans to introduce 2 amendments to tax legislation that will see the increase of departure tax and the introduction of new taxes by April 2017. Discussions for the proposed changes started in December last year with a cabinet paper prepared by the Treasury Department. As part of that process, comments were sought from key stakeholders within sectors like the Niue Chamber of Commerce and Niue Tourism. The 2 tax components that will be introduced will mean changes to the departure tax and a new accommodation bed tax. The departure tax paid by all passengers when they leave is expected to increase from the current $34 to an amount that has yet to be finalized. There's been a lot of speculation leading up to this announcement, but there is about a year to go before any of these taxes are actually implemented. However, it has been indicated that the departure tax will be incorporated into the airline ticket. This new setup will capture components of airline fare calculations that will remove the inconvenience of having to pay departure tax at the airport. The new bed tax will target tourists and those who use accommodation on island, but this is an issue that those within the accommodation sector have asked for some clarification and prompting the setup of a new association. The announcement has come as a surprise to some, but the proposed changes cannot be implemented until amendments have been made to the tax legislation that would need to go through the Niue Legislative Assembly. Public consultations have yet to be held, and it is expected that the changes will come into force by April of next year. The University of the South Pacific Niue Centre is under the microscope as its future is under consideration and its viability to continue. The regionally owned institution has a long history spanning over more than 40 years in Niue, and a consistent drop in enrollments each year has raised some concerns. Last week, the Vice President of the University of the South Pacific, Dr. Giulio Baunga, was here in Niue at the request of the Minister of Education to conduct a series of discussions and meetings with authorities here to discuss how USB can attract more fee-paying students. Honourable Sibeli wanted to know how the university based in Fiji could provide alternative academic pathways that can suit Niue's circumstances, making it more accessible to outside help without compromising their learning abilities.
These past few days of consultation, talking to some of the parents, some of the public service staff, and also with the principal and the staff at the high school, I think there's one thing that is very obvious from my viewpoint, is that the information, detailed information regarding that differences between Form 7 and also with the foundation level, it needs to be really well understood by the parents.
In order for the Niue Centre to keep its doors open, it needs to take a collaborative effort, but there is no easy fix solutions for the present predicament as competition for fee-paying students intensifies. It also appears that parents are now more selective where their children continue their tertiary studies, but they need to understand the way forward for their children by being more open to the implementation of cost-saving strategies USB has in place.
And the issue has been brought up a few times, looking at viable campuses and trying to distinguish whether they should be campuses or being centers or places like that, and also look at whether it should be continue to operate or not. After holding these discussions and this visit, I think it is very obvious that the a lot of people would like to have the campus continue. There's a commitment that government, of course, they would like to contribute. But again, if we are not able to work together and collaborate to develop some kind of a model that is mutually beneficial to both of us, I think it is something that can be considered in terms of closing down, but we don't believe in that.
USB's presence in Niue offers an alternative pathway to students who want to continue their tertiary education by way of foundation courses to prepare them for university studies. Annual motor vehicle registrations are due again, and the police department has issued a warning to all motor vehicle owners. The Niue Police Department have already started with checkpoints to follow up on both warrant of fitnesses and vehicle registration in compliance with the law. We spoke to the Niue Chief of Police, Tony Edwards.
I must apologise that we haven't been able to provide those stickers for registrations. But it doesn't mean that we're going to prosecute you because you don't have a sticker. All we're doing is asking people to continue or maintain coming into the police station and paying for their registrations. We do have our database that will be able to monitor those who have paid for their registration. We just don't want that to be an excuse for people not to come into the police station and pay for their registrations. We are working on bringing our stickers for registrations. Unfortunately, it hasn't arrived onto the island, but as soon as we get that, we're able to distribute those stickers out to those who have paid for their registrations.
The department has noted that less than half of vehicle registrations have been renewed, and that is very low considering renewals are due by the 31st of March, that is only a few days away. Police are issuing final reminders for people to take heed of and make prompt payment to their office or face potential instant fines. Easter marks one of the most important events in the Christian calendar as people reflect on the sacrifice and atonement of Christ. The annual Ecclesia Cristiano Niue Sunday School Easter Rally is one of the most anticipated programs, especially for the youngsters who work together to prepare songs, skits or action songs that showcase what they understand about Easter. An opportunity to express that the long Easter weekend is more than just a public holiday or all the extras that often become associated with Easter. The theme for this year reflected on the importance of Jesus' sacrifice for Christians to learn and follow in his example. This year's skit and event was hosted by Liku's Sunday School, who featured very highly in the grand finale with a reenactment of Christ's sacrifice and an outstanding portrayal of the events leading to the death of the Lord, his resurrection, and the true meaning of Easter. The crowd was overwhelmed by the powerful performance, full of emotion and very dramatic. It was definitely a memorable performance that concluded what was a spiritually enlightening day and a great portrayal of appreciation for the sacrifice by Christ. And that concludes our news bulletin for this evening. Do join us again for our next news bulletin on Thursday evening.